Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It looks like we have to have another talk because some of you brothers be acting up again. And this is very much a men problem. Yes, it happens with women sometimes, rarely, but this is a man's problem. I'm going to talk to you about marriage and preferences. The last video I made, I talked about how Muslims, both men and women, try to use the Quran to manipulate others, or they try to twist an ayat or hadith out of context to make it fit what they want to say or the point that they're trying to make. So, for example, let's say that someone asked me to marry them. So, we can talk. I will ask, what is your age? If they tell me, oh, I'm 25. No, it's not happening. Bye, masalama. Why? That's my preference. 25 years old man is almost half my age. Young enough to be my child. Young enough to be my child. So if there's a man, 25, I will not accept. This is my preference and I have a right for that, right? But men, they get their egos hurt, and if they get rejected, even if it's not about them, like it's not because how you look or your job or your personality, no, it's just you're young enough to be my child. I don't want that. They get defensive. So then they will try to use Islam to manipulate you. So the man will say, oh, really? Well, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam married a woman much older than him. I'm like, wow, really? Subhanallah. Look, educate yourselves. It will help you out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear that no man on earth will be the same as any of the prophets. They will not have the same piety level, the same mannerisms, the same characteristics, the same personalities, the same rewards, the same treatment, nothing. That's why they're prophets. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them prophets for a reason. They're special, they're set apart. You will never be able to attain what they had. Okay, that's the whole reason that they're prophets, they're special. And same for the women, the wives of the Prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No woman on earth will ever be as pious as them, as dutiful as them, and have the same personality and mannerisms and characteristics as them. Why? Because they are the wives of the Prophet. They're special. Yes, we can follow the sunnahs of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as much as possible. Try to mimic his, personality and stuff, but we will never be like that. And even there's dalil that says women will never be the same at the same level or held to the same standards or expectations as the wives of the Prophet, and that's just logical. That's just logical. Even without the dalil, it's logical. So you cannot expect your wife to be the same as any of the wives of the Prophet, and you cannot expect yourself to be the same as him. So by saying, oh, well, the Prophet married someone this age and yada, 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 so what? Like, it doesn't mean that a woman has to marry someone that's young enough to be her child, right? That's not what that says at all. That's not the meaning or the context behind that at all of why he married her. So go learn, go read. Second of all, men will try to say, well, age is just a number, it's not important. It's not important for you, but it is important for other people. Maybe you want to marry someone and you are 30 years younger than them and they feel weird or uncomfortable. So what? So move on. There's billions of women on earth. There's more women than men on the earth. It means if you try to go for one woman and she rejects you, keep moving. She's not your nasib. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us know that when two people are each other's nasib and he brings two people together, that is nasib, they will both feel it, right? Or they will both their hearts will be interested for that. So if you meet someone and they're showing interest in you as well, they're willing to pray istikhara, to give it a chance, so go for it. But if someone's saying, nope, don't want to marry you, nope, not interested, don't want to pray istikhara, don't want to marry you, they're not your nasib. And even if they were, if Allah wanted that person for you, He would bring them to you. He would make them feel comfortable towards you. So instead of manipulating the women or making them feel bad or trying to persuade them to marry you or beg them to marry you, find someone else. There's billions of women on the earth. There's not just one or two or three. There's billions. There's more women than men on the earth. Move on. Find someone else. Why do you want to be with someone that you have to beg for them? Why do you want to be with someone that is not interested to be with you? If they say they're not interested, just move on. It doesn't matter. Don't argue. Stop stressing people out. If they don't want you because of your age, okay, bad date. So move on. Find someone else. There's too many women in the world. You don't need just this one. If they tell you, no, I want to live in this country, not this country, okay. If they're not willing to sacrifice to move to the country that you're in or that you want to live in, or you're not willing to negotiate, move on. Find someone else. Stop making it difficult. Stop stressing yourself out and stop manipulating people and manipulating Islam to try and persuade people to do something they don't want to do. If they don't want to do it, leave them alone. Ma salama, bye-bye. Khalas. Why you keep arguing and but age is number and no. And the last thing I want to say is that, look, this doesn't have anything to do with marriage. This is a different topic, but I wanted to squeeze it in so I don't have to make a second video. Is that, look, all Muslims react in a different way to different things. For example, maybe someone's parents die. Maybe there's a Muslim woman and her parents die. And maybe at the janazah, the woman is crying and she's sad. And maybe for a few days or a few weeks, she's depressed and, you know, she's still praying to Allah, but she's still feeling it because she's sensitive, she's emotional. But maybe her sister just cried for 5 minutes and then she goes on to live a normal life every day. People react to things differently. So if you see a woman and she's crying for something, maybe she got her heart broken, or someone died, or she's having a bad day, or she lost her job, or her kid is sick, any reason. If you see a woman crying, don't tell her, oh, you're too emotional, you need to trust in Allah, don't cry, Allah is with you. Why? Allah created us differently. Allah created all humans differently. And there's nowhere in Quran or Hadith, there's no dalil, there's no proofs or evidences, there's no dalil at all that says it's haram or bad if a woman cries or if a woman is depressed. Even the Quran, it tells you if you are depressed, read this dua. Because why? Allah knew that we are humans, we have feelings, we get hurt, we get sad, we get heartbroken, we get depressed. That's why there's du'as to get us away from the depression. That's why there's surahs in the Quran that help us through the depression. Just because you don't get depressed, or because your heart is hard, it's not soft, or because you're not sensitive or you're not emotional, doesn't mean that if you see someone who's emotional, that they're doing haram. I'm very emotional. I cry all the time. All of the people that have been following me for many years, You know, I've made hundreds of videos crying. Most of the interviews I do, I cry. I'm just emotional person. If I get my heart broke or if something goes wrong for me, before I came to Algeria, I asked my best friend Nihal, my sister Nihal. Hi Nihal. Ask her. I was crying like every day before I came to Algeria. I was so stressed out. And when I got to Algeria, I was crying. I cried on the interviews. I cried in the airport when I was leaving. I cried with Nihal, my best friend in Algeria. Why? Because I'm just emotional like this. This is who I am. Allah created me this way. But it doesn't mean I don't trust in Allah. It doesn't mean I'm doing something haram. It doesn't mean anything bad. Don't tell me stop being emotional, it's haram. You can't be depressed, it's haram. No, this is not true. Allah knows we're gonna get depressed. The best thing that you can do in this situation is to say, okay, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Even my best friend had to learn that about me because she was like, oh, don't cry, you can't be depressed. And I told her, no, I have to cry about what is the problem and get it out of my body. Then I have to take some days depressed, sleeping, don't eat. Then one day I'll wake up and I'm alhamdulillah good. This is how I know myself. And Allah knows me better than I know myself. So everyone is different, but some people, they don't need that. Some people, if they get their heart broken, they'll feel hurt, but you will see them acting normal. You will not see them cry. You will not see them upset. You will not see them change their routine or change their personality or change their mood. So it's not someone's right, someone's wrong. No, we're created differently. Allah created us differently. So going back to the marriage, Allah created us with different preferences. Some men, they like fat women. Some men, they like small women. Some women, they like a tall man. Some women, they like a shorter man. Some women like men with a lot of hair. Some women like men no hair. You see, some men, they like women with blonde hair. Some men like women with black hair. So we all have our preferences. And at the end of the day, it's up to us to decide. Even women, we get to decide, do we like this person? Yes or no? Do we want to continue or do we want to be interested for this person? Yes or no? It's our decision at the end of the day. And it's all of our decision, both men and women, to decide what our preferences are. So if you meet a woman and she says, no, you're young enough to be my child, it's too young, you need to have respect. As a Muslim, don't forget their akhlaq and have respect and say, okay, may Allah give you a pious spouse and move on and find another woman. There's billions. Women, if you meet a man and he says he doesn't want to marry you because whatever reason, just say, okay, may Allah give you a pious spouse. Give us pious spouses. Make a dua and leave that way and go find another man. It's the same. So just because something is not important to you doesn't mean it's not important to other people. And because if something's important to you, it doesn't mean it's important for everyone. Respect everyone's preferences. If someone wants to marry you, they'll make it happen and they will do the work and the effort to make it happen. And if someone's not interested to marry you, just move on and find someone else. Do not stress them out. Do not let them get attached to you. Do not make a problem. Just say, okay, jazakallah khair, and move on. Khalas. Because don't make me keep doing these videos because you're stressing me out.